Welcome to Deep River Farm, friends. I appreciate you joining me here this evening. I wanted to talk a little bit about, I was watching TV yesterday while I was eating dinner, and they got to talking about the fires in California and how the governor of California was doing absolutely nothing. All he was worried about was running around doing photo ops, putting himself out in the spotlight, because he's probably the only possibility that they have for running for president in 2028 for the Democratic Party. And that ain't saying a whole lot about nothing. You know, they let that reservoirs go dry. There was no water in the fire hydrants to fight those fires. They'd not done any due diligence in getting the debris that was, you know, the fire material that was. They never done any controlled burns. Let's put it that way. They never done any controlled burns or anything in California. They just let it go and spent the money on other stuff, probably trying to figure out how to pay reparations or to the illegals, trying to figure out how to give them free medical and dental. Well, as I got to thinking there, I said, well, our governor here in North Carolina ain't done nothing either. He only comes out for photo ops. I hear a bunch of deer running around through here. He only shows up for photo ops and things like that. And if there was any interest in it, they'd be trying to figure out how to get money to the nonprofits or churches or something like. Boy, them deer coming through here. About 20 minutes before daylight. May had to slip up in the tree over here. But they would figure out some way of getting food to these people. And water. They're in desperate need of water in Barnardsville. And then they wouldn't let these insurance companies off the hook for not paying. Well, there's several of them over there. I hear them coming down the hill. Sound like a bunch of cattle coming. But you know, there ain't no sense in these politicians. I have figured out, and I'll say it time and time again, when they have a bill, it ought to be one item. One item. They ought not be a 4,000-page bill like that one that when Nancy Pelosi was Speaker of the House, she said, well, we need to vote for it so we can find out what's in it. When they get these bills out to the congressman or senate or whatever, they have absolutely no time to read that bill. And who can read a 4,000 or 5,000 page document? Nobody. So they assign staff and things to do this, and they read bits and pieces of it to try to draw out what's in it. Well, that ain't no way to be a representative of the people. They need to be one bill. If they gonna vote on a new trash truck, they needs to be just one bill. We voting on the trash truck. I realize in the federal government it's bigger scale than that. But if they gonna allocate $100 million for a project, it needs to be specified for that project. That way we can see who our representatives are and who they voting for, what they voting for, and it's not contingent on a 4,000 or 5,000 page bill. Because what they do is somebody wants this trash truck over here, but also in this document over here, there's another bill for paying for debris removal, but that debris removal is going to be given to one of them donors, campaign donors. It was for this other guy over here, so he's going to vote for that. And then they're going to have in some crazy document over there about some comic book for some transgender. Well, these people over here voted for the trash truck and the debris removal. They ain't gonna want to vote for that. But they put it all in one bill, and they say, well, if we put this in this bill, will you vote for it because we need this trash truck and this debris removal, and we'll put this comic book for transgenders in there. And that way they can't say, well, I didn't vote for that, but that was in the bill. We had to go for the lesser of two evils. Well, that ain't how it works, folks. It needs to be one item in one bill. That way we know who the crazy people are. We already know that anyway. And the people can have a voice. But this way, with these great big bills and things, there's no voice. They just throw out there whatever they want to in these pork barrel spending accounts, and the taxpayers flip the bill for it, and then the money goes unaccounted for, like it always does. You know, they can't let a good disaster go to waste. But that's the whole problem, and that's exactly what's happened in California. That's what's happening here in North Carolina. There's $300 million that's unaccounted for from the North Carolina Office of Recovery and Resilience that Roy Cooper set up. It's just disappeared like a windstorm, a dust bowl. The dust got up and the dust settled. Nobody knows where the dust went. But I think if these politicians in North Carolina was concerned about their constituents, they would be pushing bills to have money allocated for food. They would have money allocated for housing, and not let these insurance companies off the hook. There would be money set aside right now to get these people that have campers, get these things insulated. They would be made to allow power companies to go in there and give these people power, and quit letting these liberal city council and county commissioners dictate whether these people can have power. Oh, because they can't have that temporary power because they're in a floodplain. Well, whoop-de-doo, they wasn't in a floodplain for 1,000 years. And you know, a lot of people's questioning whether this storm was government created or whoever created, enhanced, whatever you want to call it. There's questions about that. And there's just a whole lot of garbage that people are having to put up with that shouldn't be. I mean, it's 30-some degrees up in the mountains this morning, and Cry had run out of propane, and their first load's not going to be until this morning. They had to take 300, and I believe Brother Bud said they moved 376 propane tanks down to Landrum Saturday on the trailers to get them refilled. And that takes a while to refill that many tanks, folks. And then they've got to get those tanks up into the mountains. So, you know, they can get a load up there possibly today, but, you know, these folks may have run out of propane yesterday or day before. And their only hope is getting this propane that's supplied through Operation Mountain Relief. And folks, if you want to give to the Share the Warmth Fund, I'm going to share the picture with Prince Propane on this video so you can see it. The account number is in the center part of the little picture there. And you can call them and have that account number ready, and you can help support these folks and give them some heat. And there's more than people realize. And then, folks, this coming weekend down at Mama's Cheer, Brother Donnie Neese of his place in Randleman, North Carolina, is going to be helping feed 1,000 kids. And what does kids like? They love hot dogs and French fries. So he's going down, he and his church and some of his supporters for his place are going down, and they're going to cook 2,000 hot dogs, 600 pounds of potatoes. They're going to turn them into French fries, and they're going to have baked goods supplied by the Central Global Methodist Church women and the Midway Wesleyan Church women. And it's going to be a good day down there at Mama's Cheer, located in Rutherford County, just outside of Forest City. Well, folks, I wanted to give you those details this morning and let you know kind of what was going on, and just kind of aggravates the fire out of me because we can't get nothing but delay and excuses out of our government for helping these people that need this help in Western North Carolina. And I didn't know if you saw last night's video, but Helping Hands has helped a lady get a vehicle. Appalachian Reclamation Koalition set this up, and Helping Hands and a few others have helped supply a vehicle to this lady who was just able to get a job but had no transportation to get to it and was having to rely on other people. And she was a single mom, and so we was able to help in this capacity. And we're going to have some more reports coming out. We got some information coming from Emerge Ministries, which is part of the Koalition. And we got some information coming on what they've got going too. And, you know, if it wasn't for the churches and the non-profits that's set up in Western North Carolina, I would hate to see where these folks would be. Well, folks, I appreciate you joining me here this evening on Deep River Farm. I hope you all have a blessed day. And I will have these pictures for Prince Propane also in the post here on Deep River Farm. So it's, you can go to the post section as well and see that information along with other information that is important. We put that there as well. Also, folks, you can check us out on Facebook, and we're located on Facebook at Deep River Farm there on Facebook. Y'all have a blessed day. We'll see you on the next video.